Thank you so much for plugging in, guys. Again, this is John Bradley on the podcast, Finances and Fun, and I'm stoked. We have Will Armijo with us, and if you've watched a couple of videos or seen us on social media, you've known that usually my guests are people that I've worked with, I know personally and professionally. I love today's podcast, most importantly, because me and Will actually just met a couple weeks ago, and he had visited our BNI. It's a Business Networking International. It's a networking group for business owners. And listening to his story personally and professionally, the CARE organization, I had to get to know you more. And there's so much of an impact that you guys are doing in the local economy, the local just state, as well as on a worldwide basis. And I wanted to deep dive on that. So I'm selfishly putting you on my podcast so I can learn about you,
Let's
bro.
do it.
This is a great first date.
I'm in.
So if you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you born here? Like, is Arizona home? Like, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so Arizona is home base now. Originally born and raised in Gallup, New Mexico, small town. Left in the middle of high school, moved here, finished high school here, stayed here, went to college, started my business here, and I've been here ever since. My parents are here. So I think it'll always be my new home base, but I would love to move around the country for sure. I feel that bug coming.
Dude, I know where Gallup is only because there's one Sizzler right off the side of the freeway. When I hit New Mexico, I'm like, dang, this is going to be a long drive. Oh, there's a Sizzler. Anyway.
Yeah. Most people, I'm just like, just keep driving. Just go through.
It's flat.
Just keep going. Yeah.
But you moved to Arizona for your baseball career.
Right.
So talking on the fun side of things, finances are boring sometimes.
Right.
So the fun side of things is that you're a professional baseball guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my whole life, I was really groomed to play baseball. Both of my parents are left-handed. My dad was a good pitcher in high school. So I naturally, from being a small child, it was be a pitcher. And I was relatively good at it. So, but growing up in a small town, it's very hard to get seen. Every game that we played, we'd have to drive 2 hours to Albuquerque because there was no other high schools. There was one in my hometown, right? So just to pursue my baseball career, we got up and we moved to Arizona.
Whole family.
Yeah, my parents and myself and my little sister, because Arizona is like one of the top baseball cities, and it was close.
I didn't know that.
Oh, the high school baseball here is incredible. The junior college baseball here is by far the best in the nation, for sure. So I played junior college here. I had a short run at U of A, and then I finished at GCU. I finished my baseball, but I ended up having Tommy John surgery in the middle of college, which is probably one of the hardest things you could go through.
Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, so basically they cut open your elbow, and how it happens is you tear the ligament off the bone from pitching.
Oh yeah, from throwing.
Yeah, so they take a ligament out of your body. So they took it out of my other arm. You can see these scars on my arm here. So they took this ligament out. They drill holes in each bone. They wrap the ligament in, and then your body has to learn to grow that ligament as a new ligament. So you're in a cast for like 6-7 months.
Holy crap.
Yeah, the total rehab's like over a year. It's like 12 to 15 months of rehab. So you have to medical redshirt. You can't come back and be a starter. You have to be a reliever. So it's very difficult to have that surgery in the middle of college versus if you were to get drafted and then have the surgery. It's a little different. So it makes it a lot harder in college for sure.
Dang, dude. And so that's elbow, but also in regards to throwing and pitching, your shoulder is usually what people I see pitchers throw ice packs as soon as they're walking off the mound.
Yeah. It's a completely unorthodox movement for your arm, right? So that's why so many people get hurt with arm injuries. But I mean, it's a tough sport, right? A lot of people just don't realize, one of the things that a lot of people don't even know about the MLB, right? So if you get a job, not as a player, right? Just to work and interact with Major League Baseball, you have to know Spanish.
You have to.
Or they won't hire you.
I'm screwed.
Yeah, they won't. I don't even know Spanish, which is crazy. I don't know Spanish either, but they won't because my point behind that is majority of Major League Baseball players only speak Spanish.
Right.
They're all Latin American players, right? Because they can sign them at 15 years old, 14 years old in other countries. They can't do that here, right? You have to go to high school. You can't get drafted out of high school here, but a lot of guys go and play college. So once you get into the league, it's all it's a different game. It's all Latin American players. The talent level is extremely high.
Well, I just got back from Nicaragua and we were driving through the town of Granada and they were playing baseball. And like, it's more than just a hobby over there. Like, it's a passion. They spend like every day thinking about it.
Yeah,
You
survival.
can tell. Survival. Like, that is their one outlet they look forward to in regards to that's where they can have fun. That's where they can decompress.
Right, exactly. So did that. Once I had surgery, I kind of realized, okay, I don't want to play baseball the rest of my life. This is not something that I want to continue pursuing. And then that's actually when I changed my major in the middle of college, went into more of a business. I was more science, pre-med, went into a business major, stayed in school, got my MBA. The moment I got done playing baseball, because I grew up overweight as a kid, so I started dieting and training at like 12 years old in full secrecy.
12?
Yeah,
Secret.
my parents didn't even know because they weren't overweight. There was nobody to like talk to about it, right? So when I was young, I was like, man, I would just look in the magazines and I'd see these people and I'm like, wow, they're so fit. Like, these are real athletes.
That's
I need to look like that.
so far away from me right now.
Right? So I started getting into diets, training, supplements at like 12 years old. So by the time I realized I wasn't going to play baseball anymore, I didn't want to do that. I got into bodybuilding right after I got done playing because that was my opportunity to like turn my body into the best possible thing that I could, because you're limited in baseball, right? They don't let you train as much as you want.
It's a lot of cardio.
Right. So once I did that, then I got into bodybuilding. I competed 9 times. I did 9 bodybuilding shows in 2 years. Competed in the NPC, competed at the national level. And that's really when I realized, like, I'm really good at writing nutrition plans and exercise, and I know supplements so well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start a business to help people lose weight, because I've kind of been doing this at this point for like over 10 years.
And it's the thing that everyone has this mythical, roadblock with, like, oh, I can't lose weight. Like, no, bro, it's a science. Like, you just have to know the recipe for success, and you got to have the dedication to be able to put in the time there.
Right. Exactly. And then from a business standpoint, I saw the opportunity in online coaching.
Yeah.
So I reverse engineered my own business model. And I said, okay, if I were to max out my time and capacity, I could handle 100 clients.
Per week, per month, lifetime, per year?
Per month. Right?
Yeah.
Like ongoing. I could manage that. I'm still in school, finishing up my MBA. Doing a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, okay, if I reverse engineer this and I am fully maxed out on time, I could technically handle 100 clients. So I reverse engineered that whole model. And then it took me a little under a year and I got to 100 clients. Well, everybody's, I'm getting paid $150 a month, right? And I have 100 clients and I'm working at a corporate job, right? It was my first 9-to-5 job. I was working at GCU because they were paying for my MBA.
Scholarship?
No, they were just, if you graduate from there and you work for them, they'll pay 100% of your MBA. Good
for them. That's a good company then.
Yeah. So I did that. Well, I go from my first real corporate 9-to-5 job making, I don't know, we were maybe making 75 grand a year.
Yeah.
So to go from that paycheck to $15,000 a month.
Pretty nice.
And do it all online and be able to travel. So that's when I quit. That's when I quit my corporate job, and then I just started working for myself, and everything took off from there.
So your passion of personal dedication, your personal desire, I feel this way, I want that. So then you learned it yourself, and then you probably also recognized that no one else around you knew how to do that. Like, hey, bro, how do you lose weight? Oh, you just eat a ton, and then you got to work out a ton. And you're like,
right.
That's very subjective. And so you refined the craft at that point and said, I really want this. I'm going to go ahead and learn it myself, understand it to the best of my abilities, and then feed that to others. So the giver's gain mentality showed up there, where you're helping other people and you were profiting from it by all good means, of course.
For sure. And it was all based off of my own experience, right? So like I could relate to people because I've been in those shoes.
Yeah.
I learned that in that industry, a lot of coaches were just these genetically gifted people who were recycling diets and
cookie cutter
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I built everything myself, like our formulations for how we do nutrition, how we prescribe nutrition, everything I built custom myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think that's kind of what developed my niche in that industry. And it ended up being primarily focused on women 35 to 65. Right. That ended up kind of being my target demographic.
Why women? So I like that, because I've heard a lot of coaches, and if you aren't aware of this, I've heard a lot of coaches give feedback that women bodybuilding, women training it's like there's a hump. And then once you get over that initial, like, this is hard, women's physique, like, they crush it. Their hormones are a lot better, per se, than men, and the ego in men usually just holds us back from being able to take in the feedback and then implement. So why women in your business?
Yeah. So one, I wouldn't coach competitors. I had no desire to coach competitors. I just wanted everyday people that were struggling to lose weight, that have tried everything they could think of and nothing was really working for them. So naturally, I mean, the honest truth is guys think they know it all. So they won't hire a coach, right? They think they can do it, which they can, but they have no desire to hire a coach to tell them how to eat, right? Women do that. They invest in that. So I think that niche kind of found me, per se. And I just honed in on it. I focused in on that, and then everything kind of adjusted towards that, helping women with hormones and gut issues and people who are premenopause, in menopause, right? That's kind of that demographic.
Yeah.
So, and then I just scaled the online business from there. We've worked with over 8,000 people in total since we started, and now we kind of focus more on the weight loss peptide side. That's a super trendy thing. So I help coach people through a peptide journey, but we do it holistically. We do it with low dose. We only work with accredited compounding pharmacies. We only work with naturopathic doctors. We take a very holistic approach to it. So that's where we're also different in that space as well.
Well, and there's a lot of misconceptions right now I want to just say in America, but in the industry as a whole. Like, I want to lose weight. Okay, you don't realize how impactful your sleep, your hormones really dictate everything else.
For sure.
Like, there's this misconception that you got to have pain in order to gain. You got to go through suffering in order to get the result. But a lot of people don't realize that their gut health, their hormones, and their balance controls more of that than anything else.
For sure. Because, I mean, what's the point if you have a perfect diet, call it the perfect laid out diet, right? You're eating egg whites and oatmeal and chicken and salad and tilapia and, it works, but can you do that the rest of your life? Because the moment you stop, what's going to happen?
Cravings kick in. You want what you want.
And that's why diets work, but diets are not long term. That's why people can go on any diet. I don't care if it's vegan, carnivore, intermittent, whatever. It's going to work to an extent, but you also have to ask yourself, can I sustain this lifestyle for the rest of my life? Otherwise, you're not going to sustain what you achieved.
Right.
So I think that's where there's always a big gap in that whole industry in that, because we are a diet culture for sure. There's a new fad, there's a new detox, there's a new supplement, there's something always on the market that is, this is the only way and this is the best way and nothing else works. And you're like, that's marketing, right?
Yeah.
That's marketing in a nutshell. My whole thing was, I don't want to create a dependency, right? I don't want people to have a dependency on what I'm doing. I want to teach people to do it, learn how to do it, build education so that they never have to come back to me or to anybody else. That was our whole business model.
Because that's like referral gold. Like,
100%.
hey, you did so good that you actually scaled outside of needing a coach. You're self-sufficient, save the extra money. And then everyone that ever runs into, hey, I'm running into this issue. Will's not going to BS you. Will's going to tell you exactly what you got to do. And at the end, you're done with the program. You're done with the program.
Exactly.
Save the money instead of creating the habit of, oh, well, you have to use me. And if you don't, then you're going to gain all that weight again. And then you're going to come back. Like, why would someone hire that individual? So
exactly.
I love that.
And funny thing about the bodybuilding world, I'll never forget this moment. So knowing what I already knew about nutrition, right? I did hire coaches. Right, because that's just the stigma that I heard is like you have to hire coaches if you want to become a pro.
You got to scale,
right? So I'm like, all right, let me hire a coach. Go through these coaches, and I vividly remember one time I asked my coach, I was like, why did you switch it from white rice to brown rice? I was just curious. I just wanted the education, right? He knows something I don't, and he wouldn't tell me. He said, why are you questioning my methodology? I'm like, I just want to learn. Like what?
Seeking to understand.
And then I realized that's what they do. That's how they create the dependency, right? They give you a perception that there's some secret and there's not.
There's not. I mean, white rice to brown rice. Brown rice is less refined. Better for you. More fiber.
Well, and the funny thing is, you're better off eating white rice than you are brown rice. So brown rice has the highest level of arsenic in it compared to white. So, and white and brown rice do nothing different to blood sugar at all. Even though you'll hear that there's more quote unquote fiber in brown rice.
Yeah.
It doesn't do any different to your blood sugar at all. You're actually better off eating white rice than you are brown, unless you're eating organic brown rice.
What about like jasmine rice? Because white rice is a general term. And then under white rice, there's long grain, there's short grain, there's so many basmati, there's jasmine, there's... So is that still a difference or nah? Just like arsenic's a pretty heavy metal that it's toxic.
Yeah. I mean, you can have different forms of rice for sure. But at the end of the day, right, like, is it going to make a huge difference in your results? Probably not.
Right.
It's the consistency of eating rice in general versus eating rice one time and then having In-N-Out the next day.
And then fried potatoes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The consistency always wins. The more consistent you could be with something, the more your body's going to adapt to it. So to me, it doesn't even really matter. You know, I'm more about quality, right? Is it organic or is it not?
Right.
That's what makes the difference to me versus what kind of rice it is.
I love that. Yeah, my personal trainer, I sent him a picture because I got real tired of chicken, rice, and veggies.
Right.
And I sent him a picture. I was like, dude, what of these sauces can I use? Like, I need something to like not make it so dry and like extra flavor. And he was like, dude, at this point, I don't care. Like, obviously, I'm not jacked. So he was like, bro, I don't care at this point. You're not competing. You're not training for prep or anything like that. So do what sauces you want. Just stick to the plan. And I was like, sweet, Chick-fil-A sauce. All right, there we go.
That's a good sauce.
So we talked about, you had mentioned that you needed to hire coaches. You had a capacity of 100 clients that you could take on. And a lot of people, when they're in the entrepreneur mindset or solopreneur, they're self-employed, they're 1099, or they're even an employee and their job caters to service, there's a cap on the time that they can commit and the amount of clients that they can bring in based on their time. So how do you level up from there? Of course, everyone talks about this magical thing called scaling, but scaling is a very simple term, but it's easier to talk about rather than implement. And especially the people that need to have control, they're control freaks and they want to grab the reins on everything. So tips on how to scale, because you went from coaching to online coaching, and I imagine you blew past the 100 client mark. Once you realized where your limitations were, you're probably able to then identify and reverse engineer, as you said, okay, how do I get past this barrier of my time constraint? So what did you do in that instance?
You know, it's very simple. It's you sit down on a whiteboard and you think, okay, where do I want to get? Where do I want to be? What does it look like? How many clients do I want? Whether it's financially, whether it's a number of clients, whatever. And you have to take the time to build it backwards. Because if you build it backwards, you're creating a model that can hold a capacity that you don't have, right? So then everything just becomes plugging it in and staying true to the model. Plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. Don't change it until you max out and then restructure, do the same thing. Okay, well, now I want to have 1,000 customers. Well, how am I going to do that? What is it going to take, right? If I was there today, what would I, based on my knowledge, what would I have implemented to be able to handle this without, and this is the key thing, without losing the customer experience, right?
Without
you
losing the
cannot
customer experience.
sacrifice the customer experience. The moment you do that, now your audience and the market realizes you're just trying to sell them something, right? And that's what most people do. Sell, never focus on the customer again. Because in business, yes, it's important to have X amount of customers because X amount of customers dictates the amount of sales or revenue you have. But also, how often are you losing customers? What is your customer lifetime value, right?
Right.
So if your customer lifetime value is 1 month and you get 10 clients in a month, well, now you're going to lose those 10 clients at the end of the month because your lifetime value is 1 month. If your lifetime value is 6 months, you it becomes a compounding effect. So you bring in 10 the next month, well, now you have 20. and you know where your lifetime value mark is, you know those 10 that started in January most likely are going to drop off somewhere towards the end of the summer, right? So now you have this compound effect and you know what your drop off rate is. Otherwise, you can't scale. Scaling's impossible if you can't retain a customer.
Big time. And it's the flip side of that is non-awareness. You're just spinning wheel. You're the hamster wheel. You're plugging in. You're grinding. I got 3 clients today. Congrats. Good job for you. But then they all drop off in a month. And then you don't have that compounding growth. You have this flat level line that is a 1-to-1 ratio on your time and effort to one client. And then that client is a terrible client that you want to fire anyway.
Right.
So I could see how I love the reverse engineering because what book is it where you what got you here won't get you there.
Right.
So in order to scale, you have to be able to know we're going in this direction. How do we get over those hurdles in order for us to overcome, refine? But you're right. Like the customer experience, the thing that is getting you the referrals is the customer experience. So once that starts slacking, your business goes under.
It all goes downhill.
Whether it's in a month or whether it's in 5 years, if the thing that is most important, which is the customer experience, goes down, the business is going to go.
100%. And you also have to get out of your own way, right? Like you have to listen to your customers. What do they want? Are you asking them questions? Are you surveying them? How can we make this program better? What could we do better? But there's a lot of ego that gets involved, right? If you're the business owner and it's your concept, you think that this is the only way and the one way that it's going to work. And yeah, you did have the vision and the idea to start it. Congratulations for taking that risk and actually executing on it. But now, how much are you willing to listen to your audience and adapt what you've built, your program, your business? How are you willing to adapt it to the exact audience you want?
I love that. I'm writing all that down.
Yeah, that's key, man. I'm telling you, so many people do, no, this is exactly how you should do it. This is the only way it works. And then it's like, well,
is that what
none
they
of it
said?
Matters, right? None of it matters if you don't have customers.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care how good your idea is.
And listening to the customers, getting a survey and listening to the customer. A lot of people are just ignorantly blissful.
Right.
If, oh, well, I've always done it this way. It's always going to be this way and it works for me. Right. It works for you. You don't matter. Get out of the way.
Right.
Listen to the client. Ask what they want. Get their feedback and then adapt. There's a lot of people, and you've probably ran into this just as much as I have, a lot of business owners that their pride and ego is just their biggest fault. Where like, bro, you're not even open to feedback, regardless of who's giving it. Like feedback is feedback.
100%.
So we've talked a lot about your personal experience. We've talked about your hobbies. We've talked about a couple of your business aspects. But I know you're working on like more than just one business.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even talked about the care organization.
Right.
And when you talk about like a passion-driven purpose, when you guys came into our networking group and you had given a little touch point on here's what we do, it brought people to tears just for how impactful what you're doing is in Arizona, in the world. And this is a hot topic since especially the Sound of Freedom came out and it's bringing awareness. Like a lot of people want to say, well, it's Hollywood or there was something around that it was just dramatic. Like, sure, it's a movie, but also it's based on a true story. So tell the audience a little bit about the care organization and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So the care organization, what we do is we fight sex trafficking and abuse, right? So that's our primary thing. How we do it, we have 3 pillars. They're on my hat. Okay. So number 1, we help fund and facilitate rescue missions. It's very important to go and rescue. We funded a rescue mission back when the F1 race was in Vegas. So whenever there's big events, sex trafficking goes up dramatically at big events. So they extracted 17 girls that were being trafficked. So that's our first pillar. Our primary pillar, what our organization focuses on the most, is our second pillar, which is recover. So what happens once they get rescued? How do they recover? Do they go to group homes? Are they getting health care? Are they getting personal development? Are they getting trauma treatment? How can we help prevent them from going back in? Because right now, I think the stat is 33% of rescued trafficked victims, 33% go back into trafficking or drugs. Because they come out of this life where they had no life experience at all. Then they go to a group home. the government will only fund it till they're 18. So once they hit 18, they got to go out into the real world with no life experience, no education, no mentorship, no nothing. So 33% go back in. And then our last pillar is rebuild. So we wanted to take a full spectrum approach to helping to solve this problem, right? And rebuild is an important pillar for us because rebuild means rebuilding legislation and policy, right? How can we affect politicians to write in laws and policies that make it fearful for people to even consider being a trafficker, right? I mean, if you get caught trafficking a minor, you should go to prison for life with no parole, with no nothing. Like, you should go for life. And that's not the case right now.
Because that mindset doesn't get better. You don't say, oh, yeah, I did that one time, but I'm better now. Like, the statistics that I saw on your guys' website, and after looking it up, the life expectancy of a trafficked, and majority are minors.
Right.
That's like the morally corrupt. Like, that just breaks my heart. Like, these are teenagers, sometimes not even teenagers.
Yep.
But the life expectancy once they're in traffic culture is 7 years.
Right.
That's so sad.
Right. And, here in the United States, in Arizona alone, the average age of a trafficked victim is 14. That's the average age here in Arizona, is 14 years old.
And that's not like across the world. That's not in third world country.
That's here.
That is in our backyard. That's in our front yard as well.
It's right here. It takes place right here. The other thing, going off the movie Sound of Freedom, right? They show a lot of stuff that happens outside of the U.S.
Right.
But the United States citizen, we're the largest consumers of trafficking in the world.
What?
Consumers. So the people that are flying to another country to do these acts are American citizens. We are the largest consumer of sex trafficking in the world.
And there's nothing that's in policy. There's nothing in the law that, like, it's based on who is sentencing them. There's no set standard.
Yeah. And that's why here in the United States, the ultimate trafficked victim is a United States citizen to kidnap them, take them to another country, or do it here at big events. We are also the biggest consumer of it. So the problem is here. The problem is not in other countries. I'm not saying that it's not a problem in other countries, but the problem can be solved by focusing on the people in the United States. That's why our organization specifically focuses on people in the United States, right? Yeah. So like Tim Tebow's got a great foundation. We sat and talked with his brother for a long time. And one thing they do is rescue, but they don't do anything else, right? So that's why our component, there's so many companies that go out or nonprofit organizations that go and do the rescue. But there's not a lot that focus on the recovery side of it and the rebuilding policy, right? Yeah. There's not a lot. So the recovery side, our big goal for our organization is to actually occupy and have a facility, our own care facility. So when the victims come out of group homes after they're 18, they could come into our facility from 18 to 25. And now that they're adults, we can partner with schools to bring in free education, online education, tutors, job placement, mentorship, healthcare, and actually have a place for them to get that opportunity that was stripped from them their entire life. So that's our primary massive goal for care.
And it's funny you bring up Tim Tebow because I'm part of a real estate investment mastermind, and the Better Life Tribe also 100% of proceeds from the Better Life Tribe, which is real estate investment, betterment, accountability, us personally, like how can we be better? 100% of the proceeds from this nonprofit go to Tim Tebow's foundation.
That's awesome.
So we fully support. We got to rebuild. We got to help these families out. What is the number one, like they're kids, bro. They're kids that get trapped. And the statistic that really broke my heart was that it's usually a family member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely true, especially here. It's usually a family member. That's how the grooming starts. That's where they start. And then it goes from there. And like the kidnapping too is huge. Thankfully, it's being exposed a lot more, but it's happening everywhere. Even here in our state, one of the number one trafficking areas in our state is Desert Ridge Mall in North Phoenix.
Thought it was Arizona Mills.
No, it's Desert Ridge Mall, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy.
There's money up there.
Yeah.
That's why.
Exactly.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's just, excuse my language, that's
I know.
fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the more awareness we could bring, that's why we do these community meetups every month. We try to get the community out. We invite out that district representative, that district senator. We bring speakers just to bring awareness to the public. Bring the community out, support a local business, bring awareness to the cause. You know, and we have a $39 a month subscription to CARE. That's something we just recently launched. That's definitely affordable for a lot of people. All the money goes to the 3 pillars, right? So, and we help show people where those funds go. But that's our new big thing, is scaling our subscription. That's $39 a month. We sell these hats. All the proceeds go to the cause. So that's our big thing, is growing our $39 a month subscription. It's on our website. The more people that we could get to subscribe, the more people we could help, the closer we could get to our goal. So that's our big thing.
Well, this definitely brings awareness to like, what can we do to help impact and provide support for the CARE organization in order to help defeat this evil that's literally in our front and backyards and in our home. Like, so where can people learn more about you? What can we do to support you? Like, what's number one, if you could ask the general public, like, what do we got to do right now? How can we help you?
Yep. So right now, our $39 a month subscription is the best way you can help, for sure. If you're local here, coming out to our local meetups, show your support. That would be awesome. Last week, we had Carrie Lake come out and show her support for our organization. So, but really helping us grow these subscriptions, buying one of the hats, supporting us online, that's huge. We're going to scale. We're going to grow. We're going to help people. We're going to bring a lot of awareness to this. We already have, but now we're going very fast right now. That is the best way you can support. So you go to thecareorg.com. You'll see the hats there. You'll see the subscription. You'll be able to read about our 3 pillars. So just going to the website, supporting with a monthly subscription would be absolutely amazing. And we post a lot about when we have our local meetups. That's on our social media. So on Instagram, it's the CARE organization. And then you could always follow me. I'm very active on social media. I post about all my businesses, what I'm doing all the time. And you could find me on Instagram, i.am.willpowered, or you could just search Will Armijo, Armijo, and you'll find my profile.
Dope, man. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
This is awesome.
Spreading the awareness, most importantly, because this is something that it's going to take the whole world coming together on this in order to overcome.
It is. It's coming.
Well,
yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you so much, everyone that tuned in. We're excited to bring on more and more value to you. Thank you for spending your time watching the Finance and Fun podcast. Feel free to follow Will Armijo, follow the CARE organization on Instagram. We want to overcome this evil, and through our support, through our backing, we can just help.
Help.
I
appreciate it.
Love God, love humans.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the support.
Have a great rest of your Taco Tuesday, friends. Signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Finances and Fun podcast. Please like and subscribe to get new episodes as they're released. We love engaging with our audience, so please leave us a comment below with any feedback or questions you have. Write to the show by sending an email to talktoaproadvisor@gmail.com. You can find the video version of the show on YouTube at the Finances and Fun YouTube channel. Check out clips of the show on our Instagram and YouTube. Just search Finances and Fun. This has been a T-Door production.